When you're dealing with color, you also have the option to work with your effects panel, and this is under Window and Effects, and it is a separate panel you can pull up. And the reason why I'm showing you this in the color unit is a lot of these are working with color. So as you create them, you can work with them. First obvious thing is you can change an opacity. An opacity is not the same as a tint. Remember, a tint is the tone of the color. Opacity is the transparency of the object you select. And you can change the opacity of the object, the stroke, or the fill. For this, we're going to be looking at two different locations. We're going to be looking up here in the relationship of this text to the blue bar, and of this blue bar to the yellow one below it. And for the examples, I'm just going to be selecting the uppermost item, and these are solid colors behind them. I will say that learning all of these effects is not something that you ever need to worry about doing, unless of course you're taking your Adobe certification test to become an Adobe certified expert. Then yes, in fact, you do need to memorize what every single mode does. If that is not the case, hopefully this overview will get you started on some simple things you can do to work with color. So, multiply. Whenever you select multiply, it multiplies the base. Your result is always a darker color. So you can see with this example, even though we have the blue on top of the yellow on top of the blue, the resulting overlay is almost the same. Screen produces the exact opposite. It always produces something that is lighter. So you can see it's the same, but it's lighter. As we go further down, you're going to see these start to change in their relationship to each other, so that whether you have the blue or the yellow on top begins to make a difference. For example, overlay. Overlay will either multiply or screen depending on the base color. So here we've chosen overlay, and because the yellow is the base, it looks yellow. Because blue is the base, we almost have a transparent blue. Soft light does something very similar. It's going to either darken or lighten based on the blend color. So you can see with that, we get a slightly darker, slightly lighter change from what it was before. Hard light. Hard light multiplies or screens depending on the blend color. And when I use the term blend color, I'm talking about the uppermost color. The base color is the one behind it. So now we'll just toggle through a couple of the other differences. Color dodge brightens the base. Color burn darkens to reflect the blend color. Darken selects whichever one is darkest. Lighten selects whichever one is lightest. And I'm actually not going to go through each of these, but I encourage you to experiment with them. When you get down to hue and saturation, these create colors based on luminance, saturation, and hue. So for example, when I select hue, I'm creating a color that has the luminance and saturation, or the lightness and intensity of the base color, with the hue of the blend color. So you kind of get some different looks with that. So these are kind of cool effects that you can use with color to kind of create different looks. I will give you the warning, these often do not turn out well on newsprint. They usually turn out much better for either web applications or for color glossy magazine press. Also make note, in the effects panel you have an object effect, so you can create drop shadows, bevel and emboss. Again, use these with caution. they can create some cool effects, but a little goes a long way. So apply the rule. Maybe you're going to do one on your page and that's it. And have a purpose for it. Don't just apply a drop shadow because you think it's kind of a cool effect. Most of the time those effects tend to distract from the design rather than add to it.